Let's be honest, with fuel prices going where they're going, the thought has probably crossed your mind, what if I could just make my own fuel at home? It sounds like the ultimate DIY hack, right? Well, today we're going to dig in and find out if it's a brilliant idea or a dangerously bad one. So let's just get right to it. Can you really brew up a batch of fuel in your garage? I mean, it sounds amazing. A way to get some independence from the pump, maybe save a little money. But is it a genius life hack or just a recipe for total disaster? Okay, first things first, let's be clear about what we're even talking about making. We're talking about a fuel like E-20 petrol. All that is a blend, 80% regular gasoline and 20% ethanol. And that ethanol, well, it's basically just alcohol, the kind you get from fermenting plant sugars, from things like corn or sugarcane. And this right here is where that little light bulb goes off in your head. If ethanol is just alcohol from plants, and people have been making alcohol for literally thousands of years, how hard could it be? The basic science seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? So, let's answer the big question. Is it technically possible to make ethanol at home? The short answer is, yeah, yes, it is. But, and trust me, this is a huge but. The most important question isn't can you do it? It's should you do it? And that, my friends, is where things get really complicated and really dangerous. So let's pull back that shiny curtain on the whole DIY dream and take a hard look at the dangerous reality. Because believe me, trying to turn your kitchen or your garage into a mini refinery comes with some very, very real-world consequences. The risks really fall into three critical buckets. First, there's the immediate danger to you and your home. We're talking fire and explosions. Then you've got the legal mess you'd get into with the government. And finally, even if you get past all that, there's the catastrophic damage you'll do to your car's engine. Let's just focus on that first point for a second, because it's the most immediate danger. The whole process, especially distillation, creates highly flammable ethanol vapor. Without industrial-grade specialized equipment, you're pretty much building a potential bomb in your house. The risk of an explosion or a fire is incredibly high. And hey, even if you somehow manage not to blow anything up, you're almost certainly breaking the law. Governments regulate fuel production very, very heavily, not just for safety, but for taxes too. You can't just decide to bypass fuel taxes by making your own stuff. The penalties for that can be pretty severe. Now, to really understand that third risk, the purity problem, we need to see how the professionals get it done. This isn't just a simple one-step thing. There's a reason it's a complex industrial science. A commercial plant follows this incredibly precise multi-stage process. Yeah, it starts with raw materials and fermentation. That part's kind of simple. But then it gets super complex. Industrial-scale distillation to get it pure, a critical dehydration step to get all the water out, and finally, denaturing to make sure the alcohol can't be consumed. And here's where you see the huge difference. Fermentation at home, yeah, maybe seems doable. But look what happens next. The second you try to move to distillation and dehydration, the safety and feasibility just plummet. What's a routine, controlled process in a factory becomes wildly dangerous and illegal in a garage. You know, the one step that's the real killer for any DIY setup is dehydration. After you distill the ethanol, it still has water in it. Getting that last little bit of water out is absolutely vital for making good fuel, and it's something that's pretty much impossible to do safely at home without some serious industrial gear. And all of this leads to one inevitable outcome. What actually happens when that impure, watery, homemade concoction makes its way into your car's fuel tank? Let's just say it is not pretty. So, let's answer that question head on. Will your car run perfectly fine on a homemade E-20 blend? The answer is an emphatic, unequivocal, absolutely not. Not even close. Here's the chain reaction of damage that happens. That water we talked about, it causes corrosion all through your fuel system. Any other gunk and impurities will clog up your fuel injectors and pumps. And the result? You get bad combustion, engine knocking, and eventually the kind of long-term, super expensive damage that makes any money you thought you were saving a total joke. And as if completely wrecking your car wasn't bad enough, there is an even more serious risk to your health. A botched distillation doesn't just make impure ethanol, it can also create methanol. And methanol is seriously toxic stuff. We're talking, it can be absorbed through your skin, and even a tiny amount if ingested can cause permanent blindness or even worse. Okay, so I think we've established that making your own fuel is dangerous, illegal, and just plain awful for your car. So what's the smart alternative? Let's talk about the safe and, legal way to do this. Honestly, the answer couldn't be simpler. If you want to use ethanol-blended fuel, the only safe way to do it is to let the professionals handle it. Bottom line, don't make it, buy it. Here are your real options. Number 1, go to a licensed gas station and buy certified, quality-controlled fuel like E-20 or E-85. And number 2, and this is just as important, make sure your vehicle is actually designed to run on it. You're looking for what's called a flex fuel vehicle, or FFV. They're built to handle higher ethanol blends without getting damaged. So if there is one single thing to take away from all of this, it's this. Making safe, stable, effective fuel is a precise industrial science. It means huge investments, tons of expertise, and heavy regulation. It is absolutely 100% not a weekend DIY project. I'll just leave you with this final thought. If the pros, with all their resources, need a massive, complex, multi-stage factory just to make this stuff safe enough to put in your car, what does that really tell you about the wisdom of trying to cook it up on your stovetop?